Hi, welcome to vlog number 11. So halfway through phase 2 of training, that's more focused on front squats and a bit more pulling and disrupting the volume. So it's time to take stock of progress in this phase, make sure everything's going as planned or seeing if it's not in that case. So today's vlog is more about kind of giving you some numbers. So last week was about numbers and today is going to be back to some data again. Because everything I'm trying to back up with data and be more evidence informed, and I'm not just kind of ploughing through what I think so I'm not trying to make crap up as I go along. So the mantra so far has been it's just long, slow process. For those people who are under 40, start now because it's quicker if you are under 40 than if you're over 40. For those people who are listening who are not yet 40, please start this journey earlier because you'll get there far quicker than I as I'll kind of go through today. So what I've explained in the past is using load velocity predictions as a way of determining kind of where my 1RM is without having to do it. Although I've got to say the last couple of times I've done it, I've probably been pretty close to my 1RM, and it isn't like a prediction, it's more of an actual genuine 1RM test. So I've done that again, and I've got the graph stands a little bit messy, and I'll start to clean this up as we go through the week, so we're not adding more and more lines in. But I've added some data points here so we can compare. So we've got the last three tests. So the current this week is these blue dots, and then the prediction for where we'll end up is going to be the blue dotted line. And the kind of the overriding message here is that has gotten worse. You can hear it points at 0, it's below these 2 points, which is the previous 2 weeks. That's not good news. Certainly not what you want to do if you're trying to get stronger, is to have a prediction that says you're going to look weaker. Now, on the surface of it, that's quite disappointing news to have, and certainly not what I was hoping for. But I kind of need to kind of go back and look at data and look at what I know about and hopefully try and make some sense of that and not overreact to that. So the grey dots were the tests that were done on the 26th of May. That was the last time I did that, so about a month ago. As you can see, the blue dots here, so the one this load 80 kilograms and load at 100 kilograms, and we've got the 130 dot there. They're roughly about the same, but the blue dots here you can see significantly faster than I was at 80. So here we're kind of getting close to the 0.9 range, whereas 80 kilograms in May was in the 0.65, which was just slow for that load. Again, 100 kilograms I was in that 0.55 range, whereas this week I've been above 0.6. So it doesn't mean to say that I've definitely gone worse. It is a prediction, and it's not the be all and end all. It is an indication. But I probably would agree that I haven't got better, and that's something that I would be a little bit disappointed about. Now, the next thing I'll try to do is make sense of why. So this month I've made a big deal about I'm in a general phase of training, and pretty much any leg strengthening work that I'll do should make me stronger. But that's not looking like it at the moment. But I have gotten better at moving faster loads, like lighter loads have gotten better at moving faster, and that's not a bad thing to have at all. So why do I think that I've gotten worse at the heavier loads but better at the lighter loads, which is or is it the fact that front squats are no good for you, and actually if you want to get better at back squatting, you only do back squatting? Well, if I bring up some comparisons of what last week's data looked like, I might be able to try and explain that, or try and make some sense of that. So this chart here, the blue bar is velocity, so it's the mean set velocity, the maiden area. This is 80 kilograms, not 75 kilograms, that's my bad. And the orange bars is RP, which is on this side here. So 10 out of 10 basically means I was cooked and I couldn't do anything else. And 8 out of 10 means I'm about 80% of where I'm at. So on, I think probably Wednesday of last week, the set average was just above 0.45, and I was fried by that. That was really hard. I couldn't have done a single more. I think it was probably quite a long rest between reps here as well. Whereas the other loads, I'm kind of averaging, set average at 0.6 and 0.55. That are fast, and I would normally have said in previous weeks that that would be a definite guarantee to move up in load. But I'm finding moving up in load in front squats quite challenging, and this 0.45 was really kind of put the handbrake on a little bit. So just a small increment in front squats I'm finding kind of a challenge, which means I'm training at these faster speeds, not necessarily hitting the 0.3s, 0.35s that I need to be. Now if I go back a slide, that might explain why I've actually improved these faster speeds, but not the slower speeds. So I just need to get in the grind, for want of a better term, on front squats. So I've got another 4 weeks of this phase left, so it's an 8-week phase. And hopefully this first 4 weeks has been a reintroduction into front squatting, and actually the skill level I've got now will start to allow me to progress the load relatively faster compared to the first 4 weeks, and start to target the 0.3, 0.35 loads that then start to see a bit of a difference in these load velocity predictions. So that's me trying to make some sense of what I've seen in the data. Like I say, the faster loads at lighter speed, faster speeds at lighter loads, but slower speeds at the heavier loads. And that's because I've not trained at those slower speeds in this particular exercise at the moment. So hopefully that we'll start to see some change the first 4 weeks. That's why kind of taking the time to A, get the data, and B, not overreact to it. Just contextualize it, think about why that could be. It might well be that all I've said is wrong, and actually front squats don't transfer to back squats, but in 4 weeks' time, by kind of sticking with it, I'll know for definite, and I kind of learned a valuable lesson in the process. It might, and that might just be me. It might not be the same for everybody else. So let's just kind of pick up on some other metrics that I'm trying to work on. I've said the goal is double body weight back squat. And it's a damn sight easier if your body weight is less, because that's for every kilo you lose, that's 2 kilos less you have to squat. So the God's honest truth is, I've said this a few times now, my body weight hasn't really changed. My overall mass hasn't changed. And again, that's a source of frustration. That's something I'm going to work on. Diet was getting better, and then the Euros kicked off and beer consumption's increased, so that's not helping. I'm going to make no excuse about it. I like a beer when watching football. I don't have a lot, but I will have a few. Hopefully they won't come back to haunt me in April of 2022 when I come to squat double body weight, but for now, if we win, I don't care. But just to show you where I am at in terms of progress. So this is using bioelectrical impedance, the machine take at the gym. I couldn't give you the accuracy and validity of all and reliability of all these data, but I'm going to take it at face value because it seems to be consistent between days. So at the beginning, I had a 10.6 kilo difference between body fat as in total mass, which is this blue line, and then muscle mass, which is this orange line here. Move across, I've kind of shifted to this. I'm not giving the percentages, but this was around about 37%. This was probably around about 28% body fat and then 37% muscle mass. This is now sitting around about 41%, and this is sitting at 25%. And you can see there's over a 5 kilo shift in body composition. Now, I'm really happy with that. I'd like to see a bigger shift. I'd like to see it's faster, but that's not the way I've been training. And I'll be honest with you, that's not as disciplined I've been with the diet. So I think I've seen a physical change because of this. So we've seen an increase in muscle mass and a decrease in body fat percentage, and therefore we've seen like a 5 kilo shift in body composition. So that's helping, and that will continue to help. And again, there's some long-term health benefits to me in that respect as well. So that's a great news. And hopefully over the next month, I'll be able to kind of make that a bit more pronounced and keep dropping those numbers a little bit further. And tied into that, I suppose, Wong-Shin X kind of brings together the training at the faster speeds and also the shift in body composition, which is at the beginning of each session after the warm-up, I'll do 3 counter movement jumps. So this is the relative peak power from those jumps. I think I showed this a couple of weeks ago where the graph looked really, really messy. And at that time it really was messy. So the orange lines are the actual mean of each of the 3 jumps on each day. The blue line is the rolling average for 7 days. and then the blue dotted line is the trend line, the linear trend line. So that's now kind of an R squared for those people who use linear regressions of 0.36. So we're starting to actually get something that could be meaningful as a prediction of increased performance. And that's starting to look like there's a bit of a line there which is angling up towards this top right corner, whereas before it was pretty much dead flat. That means I'm getting better. That is a combination of improving strength, particularly improving strength at the lighter lows and moving faster, and a shift for more muscle mass and less body fat, and that therefore that muscle mass is able to contribute to generating more power to help me jump higher and jump further. So that's been some positive news. Again, this wasn't an objective, but I said at the beginning that if I get more power as a result of this program, that's a nice bonus to have. So that's kind of the state of the play at the moment. A bit of a mixed bag of news. It could have easily been this week that I tested on Monday. This Monday was the start of my down week, whereas last week was the crash week. So I've got doing the weekly undulating periodization approach. So if I'd have tested at the end of this week, I might have seen a different linear relationship, and possibly. But this isn't a research project; it's me, and I've got to fit in the schedules when and where I can, and hopefully. It wasn't influenced too much by fatigue from the previous week, but it could have been, and that's something you just have to kind of consider if you apply that kind of approach yourself. So, yeah, getting better at the lighter lows, need to get better at the heavy loads, and really kind of grit my teeth and get into some crushing front squats. Pulling hasn't got any better, so I'm kind of still kind of grinding hard on trying to do some clean pulls and shrug pulls just to help me pulling strength get better. But again, that's not the main goal of the phase. And body composition started to show some progress, and again, peak power showing some progress as well. So things are moving, but could be moving better, could be moving faster. But I'm just going to keep going, and hopefully in the next 4 weeks, I'll see another kind of shift towards achieving that goal. So thank you for paying attention, and as always, hopefully you find it interesting and useful.